Good evening and welcome to War Thunder's website. I am Old Dead Man. We're going over a bunch of the dev blogs that came in last week with the dev server that happened midweek last week. I was really busy, so we didn't get to these dev blogs. So we're just going to quickly go through them all and see what kind of exciting things War Thunder's got coming on. If you look at the dev server stream that Rising and I did last week as well, you'll find most of this content is already represented with more additional information. Some of those clips will be in this video as well. The biggest surprise here was the heads-up display announcement, and so we're looking forward to seeing what that's going to bring. All right, let's start going here. First off, there's a reminder that the dev server numbers are likely to change. So if you see BRs or penetration values or anything like that that you find particularly interesting, remember that it may be placeholder information. Starting off, we've got the Seversk-13 location, and let's see what we have in store. Welcome to the 1970s, where in Soviet Russia, the bread line waits for you. Seversk-13 is another inspired by map, this one based on the concept of an abandoned Soviet-era military town. A large urban center sits across the river from the cultural center in what appears to be a government office or research building. With the bulk of the town inaccessible to the ground map, this small section of city dominates the east side of the playable map. A north-south highway splits the map between the urbanized east and the rolling forested hills of the west. Here, a ruined church overlooks the wooden, decaying village houses, dotted with forlorn garden plots long abandoned, now entirely barren and devoid of life. This map provides a mix of potential playstyles. The east side features urban combat with peekaboo corners, cut by long boulevards ripe for fast reaction snipers, with ranges topping out around 400 meters or so. The cap zone sits in front of the cultural center, with a fountain providing the only cover. Fast and furious action will be had here, but watch out. While the rubble blocks access to the interior areas of this building, a sneaky and capable tanker can get inside with potential sightlines from impenetrable cover. The central cap zone is focused on this government or research facility that has clearly been the victim of a direct strike and some combat long forgotten. Similarly to the other buildings in town, this one remains indestructible, so if the enemy manages to get entrenched, rooting them out will be difficult, if not impossible, without great sacrifice and coordination. This area is more suburban, with wider, tree-lined boulevards, longer sight lines, and more open areas. Be prepared to get popped by those that have learned the best sniping points. Smoke shells will be your friend to advance through here. The north-south highway allows high-speed access to the west and center cap zones at the expense of dealing with potential snipers. While the center section is elevated over surrounding terrain, this provides little comfort if you're caught with your pants down rolling at high speed here. The terrain allows a lot of hilltop peeking and sniping. Thermals will be your bane or boon at top tier. The west cap zone is surrounded by low rolling hills with a village nestled in the very center. A church provides cover, but the primary strategic advantage would have been the tower, where a sniper or a spotting crew could have gained a commanding view of the area. Those who prefer hilltopping will love this area, where gun depression will reign supreme. From the air perspective, there is no cover. Coming in for a strike, there is nothing to hide behind, and departing the area will have to be fast, low, and with lots of prayer for divine intervention. Your saving grace will be the trees and buildings on the battlefield, which will make sightlines for SPAA difficult at low angles. At top tier, pray your countermeasures work, or you'll be getting a SAM up your exhaust. High speed in, spot your target, or have it spotted for you, attack and exit the AO fast. Don't turn. All in all, I expect this map will be unpopular with the larger is better crowd and the Call of Duty crowd, but generally be liked well enough due to sufficient cover to get places without being under constant strain looking for pixel snipers. Next one up, the Su-17M2, the first swing wing aircraft that's coming to War Thunder. The Su-17M2 is a variable sweep wing fighter bomber designed based on the venerable Sukhoi Su-7. The primary design goals were to improve low-speed handling and takeoff landing performance of the older Su-7 design so that it could be operated from shorter, less vulnerable airfields and rough fields. The S-22 technology demonstrator first flew in August 1966, with trials being completed by the end of 1967. The S-22 could take off and land on runways half as long as the Su-7, though range remained short. This design was approved for production and became the Su-17. The first major production version was the Su-17M, powered by Lyuka AL-21F3 engines and sporting updated navigation and attack computers, a braking parachute, and a maximum speed of Mach 2.1. Oddly enough, they briefly considered making a fixed-wing variation for export, and a single one-off test machine was produced, using the fixed wings from the Su-7 BKL. The Russian military planners finally realized the questionable nature of this hybridization, then miraculously came to their senses and dumped it like last week's rubbish. The Su-17M2 was a further modification that introduced an extended drooping nose for better visibility, removed the ranging radar, and added the FON 1400 laser rangefinder marked target seeker, ASP-17 and PBK 3-17 aiming avionics, RSBN 6S short-range navigation and instrument landing systems. This model was manufactured from 1974 through 1977, entering service in 1975. While the M2 could still carry the KH-23 radio-guided ASM, it was considered obsolete ordnance requiring a special Delta-N radio pod. It could also carry KH-25L laser-guided ASMs, NATO designation AS-10 Karen. So when the Karen explodes on you, you are not having a good day. The Su-17M2 also was equipped with KH-29L laser-guided ASMs, R-60 heat-seeking air-to-air missiles, and even the R-3 air-to-air missile for export customers. It could also carry Fab 500 bombs and the TN-1000 nuclear bomb. 268 total units were produced. In War Thunder, the Su-17M2 will be joining the Russian Rank 6 aviation tree as a strike fighter. It will be coming with variable geometry wings, cannon pods, bombs from 100 to 500 kilograms, unguided missiles, R-60 air-to-air missiles, and air-to-surface missiles, including the KH-23M, KH-25, and KH-29L. Next vehicle we'll be looking at will be the SARC Mk VI, an armored car used in the South African Defense Forces. This was actually a prototype vehicle, of which only two were produced, one armed with a 2-pounder and one with a 6-pounder. The 2-pounder version was shipped to the UK for evaluation. The South African Armored Car, or SARC Mk VI, is a variation on the Marmon Harrington armored car utilized by South African Defense Forces. This specific model was one of two 8-wheeled prototypes powered by twin Mercury V8 engines. One model sent for evaluation in the UK was outfitted with a 2-pounder gun, but the 6-pounder equipped model was retained in South Africa. The turret was open-topped with electrical traverse and protected by 10 to 30 millimeters of sloped armor. The Mk VI could also mount 2 to 3 additional machine guns. As new sources of armored vehicles were becoming more readily available in the UK and Commonwealth countries, the Marmon Harringtons were no longer needed, and later modifications never made it past the prototype stage. In War Thunder, the SARC Mk VI is a relatively mobile vehicle with 190 horsepower and a top speed of 40 miles per hour on roads and 25 miles per hour expected cross-country. It will be joining the British Rank 2 ground tree as part of the new South African subtree. And now for some new and interesting technology coming to the game. Gaijin is introducing some new heads-up displays. So let's see what they've got in store for us. Gaijin is showing some love for sim players and those who like the cockpit view by implementing new heads-up displays for certain vehicles in War Thunder. A heads-up display is a method of showing vital flight and weapons data on the windscreen of your aircraft, which allows you to spend more of your time with your eyes outside the aircraft while maintaining awareness of your vehicle's status. The ANAVQ-7V display system installed on the A7D was the basis for the HUD implementation that they used. With this core, HUDs will be implemented in the A7D, AV-8A, AV-8C, Harrier GR1, Harrier GR3, Buccaneer S2, F4E Phantom II, F4EJ Phantom II, Phantom FGR2, Phantom FG1, F104G, F104J, and F104S. Soviet-era HUDs are still in development and will be based on the ASP-17 system. The system will include modes for rocket, gun, and bomb aiming. The main mode is for hitting air targets with guns or missiles and works fairly conventionally. In gun and rocket on ground target mode, you can align and hold the marking diamond on your target, and that is the location your guns or rockets are expected to impact. In bombing mode, you have options for standard, drops bombs at the continuously computed impact point shown, or reticle control. In reticle control, you select your target location in advance, then fly towards that point. The bombs will drop when they would hit the expected point. For air-to-surface missiles, you will be able to target a specific vehicle. When launched, the missile should then proceed to obliterate said target. The HUD system also has an altitude warning when you get too low to the ground. Expect this to be annoying somehow when you're trying to land. And those are the expected changes to War Thunder that they have put development blogs out in the last week. The word on the street is that they're expecting this patch to drop pretty soon here, maybe even this very week. And if that be the case, well, we could be looking at all this stuff in the live server in short order. That's everything I have for you today. If you have any questions about what we've got, or if you have any thoughts on what's going on, let me know in the comments. And you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in War Thunder. Good evening and welcome to War Thunder. First off, this is a reminder that the Devblog